Well, thanks for coming. David Cunliffe has explained what a fair tax system looks like, and within that the main features of a capital gains tax. He's also shown that we're in good company. The world's financial authorities say we need to do this. I want to focus on the structural improvements a balanced tax system brings. The fairness arguments in favour of a capital gains tax are indisputable. Is it fair that currently New Zealanders don't pay tax on income from speculation, while those who earn wages, interest or dividends all pay tax? No, it's not. Is it fair that younger generations can't afford to buy a house, while their taxes cross-subsidise the people they rent off? No, it's not. Yet equally important is the structural effect on our economy. We've heard a great deal about how New Zealand's poor economic performance has been made more difficult by the global financial crisis and the Canterbury earthquakes. But what really requires attention is the fact that our underlying economic problems are structural and long-term. For decades, we've spent more than we have earned as a country. 2 points stand out here. Firstly, the trend is long-term. Secondly, yes, the government deficit and debt is a problem. It must be reversed, but close to 90% of the debt is private, and we need to address this. A structural fix is required if we want to develop a robust economy and own our own country. The current system cannot deliver this change. If we look at the projections in the present government's budget, they show what is already bad gets worse. The current account deficit is projected to increase to 6.9% of GDP. This flows through to even more debt. These projections have us getting poorer every year. The budget documents make for sober reading. This net investment position measure shows what we own of the rest of the world, less what they own of us. And it's not good news. This latest budget shows this totals negative 78% of GDP by the end of this financial year, after receiving the reinsurance proceeds from Canterbury. This gets worse every year after that, rising to minus 85% by 2015. Under current settings, using the government's own predictions, after 6 years of their management, New Zealand gets poorer, then poorer still. What this analysis tells us is that substantial structural change is needed to improve our fortunes. We cannot simply borrow and hope, nor can we just cash up assets. Long term, there is only one way out: the export of more goods and services to generate more income for New Zealand. Yet our current tax system favours speculators and penalises the productive export sector. The OECD and the Treasury both say it is wrong for our tax system to have special tax rules for property investment. This bias directs precious investment capital to speculators at the expense of exporters. We need to fix this, and a capital gains tax will. Restructuring the tax system as we propose allows us to fund other tax cuts and reduce debt without resorting to the sale of our assets. It allows us to grow equity over time, and this builds resilience in our economy. And it drives crucial investment capital into the productive sector. This opens opportunities for the development of the export sector, which we so greatly need to improve our economic well-being. This funds a big tax switch. It pays for the $5,000 tax-free zone for all New Zealanders and GST of fresh fruit and vegetables. These changes also allow New Zealand to keep our electricity assets and Air New Zealand and to pay down debt, all while increasing our exports. The bill projections, which you've got, are robust. It is not tax and spend, but it is pro-growth. There are other important benefits. The Reserve Bank supports a capital gains tax because it helps keep interest rates down and the dollar lower for the benefit of all borrowers and exporters. Our country needs to save more, invest in the export sector, and export more. Growth in the breadth of our exports is pivotal for New Zealand. While our traditional export industries remain important, New Zealand desperately needs more exports from new and emerging sectors. We're not alone in this view. Sir Paul Callaghan, New Zealander of the Year, this is his graph, and it shows that earnings from new export sectors show the potential. But as he says, we have too few of these companies, and we have to change our economic settings to spawn more. The New Zealand Institute graph shows per capita exports from Denmark and New Zealand, both small countries. The wedge from agriculture is virtually identical in both countries. The difference lies in other exports. No one says this will be simple, but nation building never is. Other countries are competing to increase their exports too. But what can make the difference is the way in which governments back their exporters, large and small. We need policies designed to drive increases in our exports and jobs and to improve our productivity. Labour has the mix to make this happen. A capital gains tax is one of the most vital ingredients. With the right supports in place, New Zealand will become wealthier. Today is an important step in the release of our plan to develop the economy. As today's tax outline shows, and our previously announced research and development tax credit also illustrates, our plan is designed to address all three stages we need to succeed: repaying debt, building equity, and stimulating growth. Thank you. I'll now hand back to Phil to close.